Thanks to Diamond Select Toys for sending this one and a few others out, so check out the description down below for links where to buy and for Diamond Select's website. Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. Steven here, and welcome back to another Pacific Rim review. Uprising specifically, that is, and today we are taking a look at another Diamond Select Toys figure, which is going to be the Kaiju infected Jaeger drone from the third wave or series, tomato, I suppose, of their figure releases. And they've all been released in groups of three, so this is the third wave of three. Yeah, so with this release, it is primed for army building material because there were so many of them in the movie that all helped to, spoilers here, it's been almost a year, open up breaches around the world and let the Kaiju rain hell upon the earth once again. Or should you maybe only buy one? Well, let's take a look to see whether or not it's worth adding into your collection. When it comes to the looks of this guy, the sculpt is obviously very nice. There are a lot of finer details to be found in the panels of this Jaeger. There are lots of mechanical details, along with some of the organic details with the Kaiju spikes and the gray matter. Not the brain kind, you know what I mean. Anyway, on the Jaeger, it does look cool. The paint, however, I feel will definitely split people down the middle for whether or not they're going to love it or hate it, because some of the blending really isn't necessarily the figure's strong point. Some of the grays, the greens, the blues that are used here, it doesn't really feel like they're blended in too well compared to some of the other releases. And whereas some of the other figures definitely feel more robotic and realistic, this one definitely obviously feels robotic, but it feels more so anime style. Almost like this one walked off of an anime cell, because the colors and the paint applications feel very bright and they definitely contrast with each other. It isn't necessarily a bad thing for everyone. It definitely has a unique charm to it, but I do feel that it might rub some people the wrong way. But when you take an up-close look at it, you definitely can appreciate the finer details in the sculpt specifically, because all of the little turbines and poles and all of the little engines and whatnot that we do find on the Jaeger, they do look great. There's even smaller details that you can clearly see on this you wouldn't find on other products like the Shao logo. That is very cool and nice attention to detail, especially when we have it accurately damaged and destroyed, almost as if something was ripping through the armor. That is always cool to see. We also even have very small teeth where the mouth would be on this not Kaiju, so that is great as well. So there are a lot of strong points when it comes to the looks. When we get down to the arms and whatnot, we can also see individual differences for the Kaiju infestation on this figure. So it's not like they sort of just mirrored the figure from one side to the other. They really paid attention to the details, especially taking a look at the palms on the hands, where one has a plate and the other one looks like it had a plate at one point. The feet also look really gnarly too, like something is still evolving out of the inner Jaeger shell. So all in all, when it comes down to the looks, the sculpt is really nice. The spikes are very spiky, but I don't think everyone will be as in love with the paint as they will be with the sculpt. This is definitely going to be a situation where if one figure will stand out on the shelf for one reason or another, it will be this one. So this guy does look pretty nice, but articulation, some folks are going to be 2 thumbs up, other folks are going to be kind of middle of the road. That's where I sit. I do think there are a couple of areas where it could definitely be improved, but at the end of the day, we can get this drone into some pretty cool poses. Gotcha. So what do we have? Well, the head is on a ball joint, I believe anyway, but realistically speaking, we're only going to get some slight pivoting movement, small angle changes, but turning it left and right. That's about it there. So yes, obviously spin it all the way around. Real tight there. Come on, there we go. But yeah, there we go. Now for the shoulders. Well, they're ball joints where they plug into the body, so we can move them around. Then they're on hinges in the shoulder, so this way we can get them to move like that. And then there are swivels for the shoulders as well, where they plug in. So we kind of get ball jointed movement there too. So we get nice shoulder movement. Unfortunately, because of the design of the shoulders, it's kind of limited. And that's about the range of movement there. Okay? Now, we get a single elbow hinge. No swivel. No bicep swivel of any kind. Yeah. I don't like that. I don't think that's pretty great there. But what we do get is we get a hinge and a swivel at the wrist. So if you're creative, you can kind of play around with the arms a bit, and you can work around the lack of bicep swivel. But, you kind of think that they sneak one in there. Or maybe there is one there and it's just stuck. But anyway, waist, we get a ball joint, which is pretty nice. We get some decent movement. Can go very far back, not as far forward, but that's okay. For the hips, we get a peg that plugs into the pelvis. So we're going to get a swivel here. It kind of feels a bit like a ratchet because it's clicking a bit, but I don't know if it's because it's stiff and I'm forcing it, or something else is at play there. And then there is also a hinge, which allows you to move the legs as such, along with a swivel. So that's pretty good. Now we get a single knee hinge, so you can have the leg go out straight like that, or you can have it tucked back like that. There's no hinge here, which I think it would have benefited from. And then the feet are on a similar style swivel hinge, where we can have an ankle rocker and we can move the feet forward and back. Unfortunately, because of the leg design and how big the feet are, we can't really move the feet forward and back that much. And because of some limited range of movement, we're not really going to be able to get full use out of the ankle rocker. And also, what doesn't help too much is because of the awkward design of the feet, you may have to position the legs in really weird poses, so this way you can get it to stand perfectly fine. And it's also prone to falling over. There we go. We got it to stand. So overall, the drone here does have some nice articulation where you can get some really fun, terrible poses out of it, like it's going to rip a Jaeger's head off or whatnot, or it's going to get into a kung fu pose. But I do think that looking back at Series 1 and Series 2, or Wave 1 and 2, they could have added a couple of more things, like maybe another hinge here, some sort of bicep swivel, and definitely maybe a little better engineering in the ankles, but it does work pretty well. When it comes to accessories, the drone comes with a set of hands that are kind of closed up, sort of resembling fists. That's right, so we get sort of splayed hands and then we get fists. And to be honest with you, if you're not really paying close attention and you're not too familiar with this Jaeger's design, or this Kaiju's design, you almost might not be able to tell them apart. So here's a quick side-by-side look at them. So this way you can see clearly, yes, one has an open hand and the other has the sort of fist, if you will. So there are differences. And to be honest with you, the only other thing that they could maybe include is maybe a blown-up Titan Redeemer head, or maybe a Valor Omega head, so this way you can throw that around. But if you catch that review, you can see you can pop it off. So, haha, yeah, there's that. Overall, for accessories, they basically included everything that they needed to have this thing be a little bit more expressive. Now, to round out the review, here is a size comparison for you with some other figures you just might have. And the whole cast and crew here from the third wave is here for the size comparison, because I'm totally not being creative here and saving editing time by just lumping them all together. So as you can see, this one really isn't that big, which is okay because it's supposed to be a Jaeger, not exactly a Kaiju, despite the fact that it's got, the Kaiju parts and whatnot. But anyway, the point of the matter is this is definitely going to sneak in well to your already established Pacific Rim display, and even go well with Kaiju. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Overall, the figure does look nice and it moves well enough at an affordable price point. It does have a couple of drawbacks, I think, where it could use some more and or refined points of articulation, and I think the paint could use a little bit better blending. But for $25, or 2 for $50, 3 for $75, or 4 for $100, I really don't think it's all that bad. Just make sure you have a display stand or two handy in case you're going to go for some really wacko poses. Overall, I do think this is nice. Not my favorite of the three released in the third wave, but It's pretty cool. Not the mecha knife head that Guillermo del Toro pretty much suggested was going to be coming in the future, but you know what? This spiky boy attacking the Shatter Dome, I will take it. Diamond Select did a rather solid job with this one, and maybe I'll get another one. Or knowing me, 5. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.